Hey guys, what is going on? And welcome. Whoa, actually, let me move that microphone. One sec. Sorry about that. Since I moved, I've had to change my setup a little bit. I might actually show you a picture of it if I can remember. And right now I'm sort of recording with the TV sort of pushed to the side so I can see what I'm doing and having the mic on the corner of my desk. Anyway, I don't know why I told you that. What's going on, guys? And welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 57. And today we are returning with a special in-depth look at the save, where in today's episode we'll go through the things you wouldn't normally see in a Career Mode episode. The top scorers, the assists, the clean sheets charts in the Premier League, what went on around the world in the top European leagues. One final run through of the squad, our transfer shortlist for Season 4, of course. As we know, we'll be playing European football at Brammall Lane, and in today's special, we'll also be picking our England squad for the World Cup. Yes, and we'll start right there as well, because of course, after taking the England job during the season, after Gareth Southgate let the nation down in Euro 2020, we are taking over with England and taking them into their first national tournament in Qatar 2022, where this is our group. We are in Group F. We've got Ireland, we've got Mexico, and we've got Egypt, so I'd definitely put us as front runners in that group. No disrespect to those nations, but I think you'd say we're the strongest out of those three other teams. And look at the other groups in Qatar 2022. There is Group G, there is Group H, there is Group E for you there, there is Group D, nice little group there with Argentina and the Netherlands both in it together. Group C, that'll be a very tight one, that Group C. Group B, and also Group A as well. So we're all the British Isles in it. You got Wales. I saw Northern Ireland, didn't I? Wales, Northern Ireland, England, and is Scotland there? No, they're not. But either way, that's our group. That's the World Cup. And yeah, in today's episode, we're going to pick our squad for it. And of course, we have one day to pick our full squad. Now, right now, this is how the team is looking. But the one thing I am going to say is this. We are going to pick players based on both form and rating. In career mode, it's quite frustrating, but the national teams managed by the AI only pick players based on rating. Form doesn't come into it, but of course it should, and that's why with our England squad looking like this, we're going to pick our side based on form and rating together. So, this is how the team looks right now, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. Let's pick our squad. Now, of course, the very first thing we'll do is, of course, put the Shocker and Calvert-Lewin in our squad, because whilst they are lower rated than the players around them, Dominic's actually in there already, isn't he? Whilst they are lower rated than the players around them, nobody scored more in English football as an Englishman this year than Calvert-Lewin and Ivan Toney. In fact, Dele Alli, I'll tell a lie, Dele Alli scored 18 goals even, the same amount as Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So those two were the second and third highest scorers as English players in the Premier League this year, and of course the top scorer was indeed Mr. Ivan Toney. So as much as I love Tammy Abraham, I'm a huge fan of his. When he had his first loan spells out from Chelsea, I knew this kid was going to go far. It's great to see how much faith Frank Lampard has in him and how he's repaid him. I think Abraham is probably the player that's going to miss out for Ivan Toney. Gutted to have him out of the squad, but I think he's the one that will need to be sacrificed. So Toney for Abraham, our first change there. Tammy Abraham, by the way, now plays for Espanyol, and Marcus Rashford is at Bayern Munich, so I think taking Rashford just makes more sense there. But the next thing I'm going to do is call up Ben Godfrey and also Ollie Shaw as well. Now, nobody had more assists in the Premier League this year than Ollie Shaw. He topped the assist charts with 14 in 36 games. Extraordinary from Ollie Shaw, and helps keep clean sheets in 18 of our 36 Premier League games there. So that's an average of 1 per 2 games. Shaw's definitely getting a call up. And Godfrey had 18 clean sheets in 36 games as well. These two were ever present as part of our back 5 years this year, and they both made it into the team of the season too. So they're both getting call ups. The question is, who are we going to take out in place of those two players? Now, the two players that we're most likely to take out for those two there are Michael Keane and Luke Shaw. The annoying thing is that they've also moved on from their clubs as well, so I don't know where they are right now. Michael Keane is currently playing for, at 29 years old, Borussia Mönchengladbach in Germany. Very interesting indeed. And as for Luke Shaw, he's also moved on from Manchester United, and he is currently playing for RB Leipzig, also in Germany. So I think we should probably let those guys go as they're now in the Bundesliga and favour the players in the Premier League, showing that domestic bias there. How did those two teams finish up in the Bundesliga, I wonder? I want to quickly check that. I know, wrong place. Bundesliga, there we are. Wow, Mönchengladbach finished in 8th and RB Leipzig finished in 7th place. And defensively this season, they had good seasons actually. Mönchengladbach only conceded 34 goals in 34 games, and RB Leipzig conceded 38 in 34. So not bad defensive seasons from those two clubs right there. But I still would say that based on the form of Ollie Shaw and the form of Ben Godfrey and being in the team of the year as well, and we had better defensive record, didn't we, than both of those clubs. We only conceded 35 goals. In fact, Mönchengladbach conceded 34. We conceded 1 goal more, but we played more games than them, 4 games more than them. I would probably say that personally, those two deserve call-outs based on form this season for their domestic clubs. So yeah, those are the 2 players I'll take out, Michael Keane and Luke Shaw. And what we'll do is we'll put in 2 of our players that were in the team of the season this year. Definitely deserve call-ups for how good they were this year. Ollie Shaw getting his first call-up to the national side, and doesn't he deserve it at just 19 years old. Extraordinary. And yeah, Michael Keane, he is going to go for... where are we? Where's Ben Godfrey? Where's Ben Godfrey? There he is right there. Ben Godfrey getting the call up to the national side. Definitely deserved it. And of course, those 2 players are younger than those 2 as well. 5 years younger. Now, Ryan Sessegnon is still at Spurs. However, despite now being 81 rated at just 21 years old, it is worth pointing out that this season, Pochettino, who's still at Spurs in this career mode, did not play Mr. Ryan Sessegnon very often. In fact, he barely played for Spurs this year. When I get to the Premier League, here we are. He barely played for Spurs this year, Sessegnon. So is it right to take him when he didn't feature for the side much? Only 19 games out of 38. So he barely played. He played half of the games, but only 19 games out of 38. Harry Kane, to be fair, only played 14 games, but did average 1 in 2. But he is our best player at 91. I'd imagine that's due to injury. I can't imagine Kane missed out just because of, form. I'm pretty sure that was just due to injury, especially when you see the goal-to-game ratio to 1 in 2. But Sessegnon didn't get a single goal or assist this year despite playing 19 games. I'm not against taking him out of the side and possibly replacing him with either Phil Foden or Mason Mount at Chelsea. Mount, is he still at Chelsea in the save? No, it looks like he's probably... Oh, no, there he is. But Mason Mount, he played 10 games this season, so I guess I probably couldn't justify putting Mount in for Sessegnon. Sessegnon played more times this year. But Phil Foden for Manchester City, how did he get on this year? Wow, he also barely plays. What is it about the clubs not wanting to play players this year? Foden only played 8, Mount only played 10, Sessegnon only played half the games for Spurs. Weird. Well, that's quite a difficult decision, that one. You've got James Ward-Prowse, 83 rated, Eric Dyer, also 83 rated as well. Of course, he could call up Declan Rice if he wanted to do so. Jack Grealish could possibly get a call up, with Aston Villa were relegated this year, with Jack Grealish as part of the side. I'll tell you what, we'll find out how Ward-Prowse, Cook and Dyer, and we'll check out Grealish's stats as well and see how they got on this year. Now, Ward-Prowse, as we know, is in the Bundesliga, playing for Schalke, who finished in 4th place this season in the Bundesliga. So a good season for Ward-Prowse, it seems, at the Veltons Arena. Pretty sure Lewis Cook is still at Bournemouth, so I think I might leave him out as he's playing in the lower division right now. But Grealish played 33 times for Aston Villa, didn't get a single goal or assist in their relegation season. I like Grealish a lot. He's a fabulous young talent, but I don't think he's going to make it into my side. Sorry, Jack. Well, I just checked Lewis Cook, and he right now is playing for Hertha Berlin, who finished in 6th place this season in the Bundesliga. So decent season there at the Olympiastadion for Cook's new team. Ademola Lookman is 81 rated, only 24 years old. He's playing for RB Leipzig right now, and an RB Leipzig side that scored 58 goals in the Bundesliga. Not too bad whatsoever. And Eric Dyer is currently at Lazio in the Serie A right now, and they finished in 6th themselves, conceding 42 in the 37 games they've currently played thus far. This is a tough decision here for who replaces Sessegnon, if anyone. Only RB Leipzig were in the Champions League for the German sides we saw there. Did Sessegnon play in the Champions League this year? He did. He played 3 games but didn't get a single assist or a goal. Disappointing, I must say. It's going to be tough to replace Ryan Sessegnon here with someone of decent quality in terms of their form this year. Because again, the overall, I got anyone to choose between really, but unfortunately, I don't want to just go off overall. I want to go off form as well. As for Schalke, well, Ward-Prowse did play in the Europa League for the lads from the Veltons Arena. Played 9 times as well, and he got a goal, so not too bad for JWP. I think it might be Ward-Prowse I replace Sessegnon with here. I'm tempted to stick with Sessegnon, but I think if I'm going to replace it, it's probably going to be Ward-Prowse. And as for Lazio, Dyer played 3 times there in the Europa League out of possible 9 games, so I don't think he's going to make it this time around. This is a tough one, man. I've got to be honest here. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? RB Leipzig in the Europa League there. I think I just checked them, didn't I? Chilwell now plays for RB Leipzig. Interesting. I didn't know that. And yeah, I think it's going to be Ward-Prowse or Sessegnon making the squad here. So I was just thinking what I could do is make selection based on who was part of the qualifying squad. Is this our under-21 team? I don't even know. Well, it can't be. Aaron Lennon played 10 games in the qualifying. What? What is this? Even Ollie Hall played 4 games in the World Cup qualifiers. Somehow, I don't even know what on earth is going on here. This game is so bloody broken. Martin Waghorn scored 3 goals in the World Cup qualifiers and played more games than anyone else alongside Aaron Lennon. Do you know what? I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's probably going to have to be either Sessegnon. The Ox played 15 games this year, only got an assist. It's going to be Sessegnon or Ward-Prowse. And I think I'm going to go with Ward-Prowse. I'm going to say to Ryan Sessegnon this year, you played your 19 games, but no goals or assists this season. You're going to have to do better than that if you want to make my squad. Ward-Prowse's Schalke did well this year. And I think I'm going to go with What? I think I'm going to go with Ward-Prowse to replace Ryan Sessegnon in the team. He might be 6 years older, but he is 2 ratings higher. And Sessegnon in his team would probably feature at left back. And when we've got Shaw and Chilwell, he's not going to get a game anyway. So whoever comes in is probably not going to play many games regardless. But I'll take Ward-Prowse due to his form for Schalke this year in a decent Bundesliga season. And I think that is probably going to do it. I think that is probably the team I'll select for my World Cup here. So we picked a few Sheffield United players, and deservedly so, I would say. And this, I think, is going to be our World Cup squad, barring any last-minute changes. Jordan Pickford, Nick Pope, Dean Henderson, John Stones, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Ben Chilwell, Harry Maguire, Joe Gomez, Ollie Shaw, Ben Godfrey, Dele Alli, Jadon Sancho, James Maddison, Harry Winks, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, JWP, Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, Marcus Rashford, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and of course, the shocker, Ivan Toney. I might possibly make 1 or 2 changes. If I do, I'll let you know in the next episode, but I think that is going to be my side for the World Cup in 2022, and I feel confident that's a good side. We picked it not just based on rating, as you can tell, but based on form as well, and I think that's the best score we can pick based on both form and rating too. I like it. And so my squad numbers have just been picked. As you can see, this is what we got. Pickford number 1, Henderson 13, Pope 23, Chilwell 3, Ollie Shaw 17, Gomez 6, Stones 5, Maguire 16, Godfrey 15, Alexander-Arnold 2, Wan-Bissaka 19, Harry Winks 4, Loftus-Cheek 22, JWP 18, Maddison 12, Ali 8, Sancho 11, Hudson-Odoi 20, Raheem number 7, Harry Kane number 9, Rashford 14, Toney of course gets a first 11 squad number, that's number 10, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin will wear number 21. And as you can see, this is probably going to be my starting first 11 for England in the World Cup. 4-3-3, of course, Pickford in goal, back for a Chilwell, Stones, Gomez and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Midfield trio of Maddison, Winks, Ali, and the front three of Sterling on the left, Sancho on the right, and Harry Kane up top despite the injury-plagued season. And on the bench, Henderson, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Loftus-Cheek, Hudson-Odoi, Ivan Toney and Marcus Rashford, with the resis being Nick Pope, Ben Godfrey, Ollie Shaw, James Ward-Prowse and Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well. But the question is, who is going to captain the side to the World Cup? Do we change it from Harry Kane, or do we let Harry Kane keep the armband? I think we keep it with Kane for one more World Cup here. He's 28 years old, so he's old enough to captain the side. He's got the leadership trait and the team player trait as well. I don't think we should change the England captain. I'm not going to make a radical change. Kane will wear the captain's armband despite his injury-plagued season. And that is our England team for Qatar 2022, which will of course be beginning in the very next episode. So that is my England side picked. I hope you guys are happy with my first national squad submission. Most importantly, I hope you're glad that I'm not just going off rating alone and also choosing players based on form as well. Because again, in career mode, the AI managers only pick players for the national side on rating, which means that Ivan Toney, who had a historic record-breaking season, scoring 40 goals in the Premier League, wouldn't have got a call-up under the AI manager, which is just ludicrous. But regardless, one final look at the Premier League table for those that might have missed the final day uploaded this morning. See Sheffield Sheffield United did indeed finish in 5th place in the Europa League spot for next season. So absolutely buzzing with that. What a season it was for the Blades. And of course our best season at Brammall Lane so far. Can't wait for European football next year. And also a look at the Golden Boot winner this year in the top scoring charts, top assists and the clean sheets as well. Where of course, as you can see, Ivan Toney did have that record-breaking season. My first ever player in career mode to score 40 goals in a Premier League season. He's cemented his place now as a Docks legend, no doubt about it. 40 goals in 38 games. I don't think I'll ever beat that record. I think Tony's going to hold it until the day I officially retire from YouTube or die. Salah and Leroy Sané wrapped up the top 3, with Ocampos and Iglesias being in the top 5 as well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a brilliant season for us alongside Tony up top there. 18 goals in 36, averaging a goal every 2 games. Brilliant season from DCL, and definitely deserving of a place in our England squad for the World Cup. And oh no, I was going to say as for the top assists, Shaw didn't finish on top. He finished level with Christian Eriksen, but he did play 1 game fewer than Eriksen. So really, whilst the game's done in alphabetical order, it should say Shaw 1, Eriksen 2. But of course, due to the alphabetical order from the game, it puts Eriksen on top instead. But regardless, Shaw had the same amount of assists as Eriksen, and they had more assists than anyone else in the Premier League this year. Calvert-Lewin had 11 assists this year, alongside Ivan Toney. Pretty much every assist that Calvert-Lewin got was probably for a Toney goal, as he gets into the top 7. Very nice to see. And then we get someone else in the top 25. Pretty sure we did. Yeah, we did. Jayden Bogle had an amazing end to the season as well. I was definitely considering capping him for the England squad for the World Cup. He finished with 7 in 36. Maybe in 2 years' time at the Euros, who knows. And Fleck also got 6 in 26. Pretty decent indeed. And Dean Henderson finished 2nd in the Golden Glove race this year. Ederson won it by 6, 24 in 34. Incredible season from the Brazilian after an incredible season by City. But still, Henderson, 18 clean sheets in 38 games, just under 1 in 2. His best season for us at Brammall Lane so far. He was superb this year and definitely worthy of a place on the plane for the World Cup. And next up, we're going to do one final run through of the squad with Sheffield United this year and pick out a few players in particular to take a look at. Starting with Dean Henderson, of course, having an amazing season this year. Growing 2 ratings to 25-year-old, now to 81 overall, 18 clean sheets in 38 games. Absolutely superb season from Dean. And what an investment it was to bring this guy back permanently from Manchester United. Already valued now at £17 million, and he's still got 3 years left on his deal as well. Serge Koulibaly only played 1 game for us this season. 2 even, in the FA Cup, but he's going out on loan to Girona next year. As we know, one of our best young players from the academy, so he's going to get some first-team football this year. Jamal Lewis had a great debut season for us since coming in from Norwich. Of course, as we know, despite being a left-back, we position changed him during the season to play central midfield, and he was fantastic in his debut year. 4 assists and a goal in 15 Premier League games, and he scored in the FA Cup as well. He grew 2 ratings this year. In the end, I felt as though we might have wasted our money on Jamal Lewis, but instead, due to his willingness to change position and move infield to central midfield, it proved to be a great signing for us. So very happy with Lewis there. But of course, as for Ollie Shaw, Lewis is never going to take his place as starting left-back role. Due to the dynamic potential this year, his potential has increased now to 91 plus. He's got potential to be special, grew 2 ratings this year, and as we know, was absolutely fantastic all year long. What a season from Ollie Shaw. I set him a target of 10 assists. If you remember, he got like 7 assists in his first 8 games. It was ludicrous, but grew 2 ratings. For those curious as well, his acceleration stat has grown, but only by 2. It's 59. And his strength didn't grow 1 rating this year. That is so bloody annoying. But either way, 2 rating increase for Ollie Shaw. And as we know, this guy is our starting left back throughout all the years we'll be here at Brammall Lane. This guy is an absolute monster. Jack O'Connell grew 2 ratings this year. He was a bit of a hot and cold player this year, O'Connell. You know, sometimes he played well for us, sometimes he wasn't very good. Only 5 clean sheets in the 21 games he played for us this year in the Premier League. Some of you guys have suggested that we cash in on Jack O'Connell in the summer, as he's out of contract at the end of next year. But I do like him. I do. I think he's a decent, solid player. He's got the solid player trait as well. And I would like to keep him. I think it all depends on his wage demands. I might try and negotiate a contract at the start of next season. If you want a wage increase, I might possibly sell him for a bit of money. But if he's okay with staying on 24 grand a week, I'll probably keep him. Tirana grew 2 ratings this year. This guy was a straight up beast this year. He dislocated his shoulder back in October, I think it was. Missed 2 months of the season, but came back and didn't skip a beat. Grew 2 ratings this this year. His valuation shot up by 17%. What a bargain he was from Hertha Berlin. And had he not been injured this year, he would have been in our back five all year long. 10 clean sheets in 18 Premier League games. He was superb, but he's no Scott McKenna, who this year really orchestrated the back line all throughout the season. A leader. He took the armband off of Oliver Norwood. He's probably going to hold on to it permanently now. 12 clean sheets in 29 games, averaging a 7.2. Only grew 1 rating, but look at this guy, man. 97 strength, 90 jumping, 92 aggression. This guy's an absolute beast in the back line. Scott the Block had an amazing year for us, and we never would have qualified for the Europa League without him. Wood did pretty well at the start of the season. He featured regularly in our first 11 at the start of the season, remember, and helped us get 8 clean sheets in 13 games. His productivity was fantastic, grew 2 ratings this year, and a great option to have as part of a young Sheffield United side. And as for Ben Godfrey, made the team of the year this year, grew 2 ratings up to 79 overall, 18 clean sheets in 36 games. Absolutely fantastic, definitely deserving of a place on the plane for the World Cup in 2022. He's getting better year after year, and he's only 24 years old. Jayden Bogle had a potential increase this year due to the dynamic potential. 21 years old. If you remember at the January window, we rejected 2 big bids from Everton and Watford, and you can see why. He grew 3 ratings this year, is now an 80 overall player, and this guy also got 18 clean sheets in 36 games. If you remember towards the end of the season, this guy started racking up the assists. He only had 1 assist in the first half of the season, when he got 6 in the second half of the season, finishing up with 7 in 36 games. He really elevated his game in the second half of the campaign, and that's why it's a shame he's not on the plane for World Cup 2022. He just, quite frankly, at the moment, isn't as good as Wan-Bissaka and Alexander-Arnold, but definitely for Euro 2024, he'll certainly be on my radar, no doubt about it. Great season from Bogle this year. Barry Walsh was the breakthrough feel-good story of the year. The Northern Irish midfielder featured heavily in our team this year, and as I often said, he featured heavily on merit. He was fantastic this year, the kid, only 18 years old, but played 22 of our 38 Premier League games and got 5 assists and a goal as well. That's almost 1 assist every 4 games for Barry Walsh this year. As a deep line playmaker, he barely ever gave the ball away. His passing was so good, and creating moves as well was a great sign of progress from just a young player whose technical stats improved really nicely. He grew 6 ratings this year, most of them naturally as well. The future is very bright for this young man, and he'll be a regular in our team next year in European games and in the Premier League, no doubt about it. Norwood might have played his final game for the club. He's out of contract at the end of next season, now 31 years old, and did decrease our rating this year. I would like to keep him for 1 more season. He got 3 assists in the 17 Premier League games he played this season, but I'm not entirely sure. His stats are going down a bit now, and I would like to keep him for his final year. I think it would be a shame to sell him, but I'm not entirely sure. It will be one of him or John Fleck that go. I'm not entirely sure who though. Fleck is 1 year younger than Norwood. They're the same overall at 74. One of these 2 players is going to go come the summer window. I'm just not sure if it'll be Fleck or Norwood. It'll probably be Norwood, the captain, but it might be Fleck. I'm not entirely sure. Davy Prupper did his ACL at the start of the season, but what a comeback story from Davy Prupper. He might have decreased our rating due to that long-term injury, but he played, I think, our final 6 games in the Premier League. He scored 2 goals and got an assist in 13 this year, and despite an injury-hit season, I must say he had a great comeback towards the end of the campaign, and I was very impressed with him in his debut year for us. Whether he stays on or not, I'm not entirely sure. Does he justify a 48 grand a week contract? Not entirely sure, but at least he had a good end to the season. It was nice to see that. Morrison, I think, will probably go next season, now 29 years old, and I've got to be honest, after the signing of Eze, I think it might be time to let Ravel go. He's not going to get any higher than 78 rated. He only scored 2 goals in 28 games. Did chip in with 3 assists, which is nice to see. But once again, I was a bit disappointed with the low productivity from Morrison this year. Didn't increase in any of his ratings. And I think what I might do is cash in on him. Try and get around 14 to 15 million pounds and sell him next year. I'm not sure. He might stay. He might not. I'm not entirely sure yet. But as we know, Eze, since coming in on deadline day, has been the much better player and a much better signing for our side. 6 years younger than Ravel Morrison. He's grown a rating, so he's now 1 rating higher. And despite playing far fewer games than Ravel Morrison, he scored the same amount of goals and only had one fewer assist in our team. He really was fantastic since coming in from Queen's Park Rangers. An absolute bargain on deadline day for £11 million plus Donna Brennan. Only 23 years old, this kid, and so much room to get better as well. What a signing he was. Callum Robinson did not grow any ratings this year, now 27 years old and out of contract at the end of next season. Scored 2 goals in 12 games in the Premier League, but 2 in 4 in the FA Cup. Limited minutes this year to for Robinson, but of course we know the reason why. Ivan Toney and DCL were undroppable. They were both fantastic, and we could not, of course, sacrifice them to give Robinson or McBurney game time. That's why they ended up with around the same amount of games this year. McBurney played 1 more game than Robinson, but he did grow 2 ratings this year, despite the limited game time. Only scored 2 goals in 17 games though, so I wouldn't be against selling them both in the summer, but I do like them as backup strikers, I must admit. McBurney's got the strength, Robinson's got the pace, so I'd like to keep them here for next season despite the limited game time. But of course, for the final 2, Ivan Toney, the shocker, grew 2 ratings this year to 79 overall. I really hope in future versions of career mode you can have like upgrades for the new season, because let's be honest here, Toney, after scoring 40 goals, would not begin next year 79 overall. He'd be like 86 overall to begin with. I think that would be more realistic for EA to do things that way. But 40 goals and 5 assists in 38 Premier League games. I don't think I'll ever have a player hit 40 plus goals in a Premier League season ever again. I think Ivan Toney's record there is going to stand the test of time. And the shocker has definitely cemented his place in Doc's career mode legacy. He was absolutely incredible this year. What a season. And of course, a well-worthy Golden Boot winner. And as for DCL, his strike partner, what a bargain. £15 million to bring him back to Brammall Lane from Goodison Park. The 25-year-old grew 1 rating this year to 81 overall. 18 goals and 11 assists in 36 games. The perfect partner for Ivan Toney. These boys, partners in crime, averaging 1 goal every 2 games. Fantastic year for DCL, and a great reason, a great show to show you why we bought him back to Brammall Lane. Worth every single penny, worth that high contract. DCL this year and Ivan Toney were simply put unstoppable. And I've also just realised as well that we can't go ahead and show you the final stuff in the season because we're currently at the 16th of May. And the FA Cup, the Champions League, the final games around the world have yet to be played yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to confirm my England squad now because the squad submission deadline date is tomorrow. So that will now be officially our England squad for World Cup 2022. I don't think I was going to make any changes anyway. So I'm going to advance until the 1st of June. And I will show you what happened in the Champions League final, Europa League final, FA Cup final, and also what happened around the world in the top European leagues too. And so here we are, now into June. I'm going to show you the Cup winners domestically, the European Cup winners, and also what went on around the leagues in Europe as well. Chelsea were FA Cup winners this year. They beat Spurs on penalties 5-4. And as for the Carabao Cup, as we know, Man City won it this year, beating West Ham by 3-0. Did I show you the Super Cup at the start of the season? Well, Barcelona beat Chelsea anyway 2-0. And now let's check out the Europa League and the Champions League winners. The Europa League this year was won by Everton. Everton won the Europa League this year. They beat Manchester United 5-4 on penalties. I don't think that is going to change our European finish. It can't. It can't. All it can do now is mean that Everton, they'll qualify for the Champions League. Or will it? Everton beat Manchester United 5-4 on spot kicks. Now, we finish in 5th. So, theoretically, there should be 5 English teams in the Champions League next year. As Everton will go into it the top 4 as well. If not, then we should still be fine. I'm pretty sure we'll still be fine. But Everton win an all-English final in the Europa League. And as for the Champions League, that was won by Atletico Madrid beating Manchester City by 1-0. I think we'll still be okay. I hope. We better still be okay. Bloody hell. I'm pretty sure we're fine. I'm confident we'll be fine. Now, for the Championship this year, as you can see, Fulham won the title this year with 111 points. Bournemouth are also up to the Premier League as they just held off Huddersfield on goal difference. And Huddersfield, Norwich, West Brom and Nottingham Forest will battle out in the playoffs in the Championship. So we'll find out who'll be coming up to the... Damn it. We'll be finding out who'll be coming into the Premier League for next year. This is how League One ended up. As you can see, Luton Town were crowned champions this year. And as for League Two, I'm always curious to see how Bury got on in League Two. It was Forest Green Rovers who won the League Two this year. And Bury finished 23rd this year. Ligue 1 was won by Paris Saint-Germain once again. Last year, if I remember correctly, they won every single game. This year, only 36 wins out of 38 games. Terrible season from Paris Saint-Germain. It's crazy how the big teams dominate in this year's career mode, man. It's really weird. And as for the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich won it. 29 wins in 34 games. Leverkusen, Dortmund and Leipzig were the other teams in the top 4. Is that right? I'm pretty sure Leipzig finished... No, I must have got that wrong. I thought Leipzig finished in 7th, but it might... No, I think... it was Mönchengladbach, France, my bad. But that's the Bundesliga for you anyway. And as for the... What's today's? As for the Serie A, we already know Juventus won this. They were crowned champions. 4 points clear of Inter, Napoli in 3rd and Roma in 4th. And the bottom 3 look like that. The Dutch League was once again won by Ajax with a 100% record. Nobody taking points off Ajax this year as they were crowned champions. The Portuguese League was won by... Oh, wow, it wasn't Benfica or Porto. It's normally one of those two teams, but it was Braga this year. Now, it's normally always Benfica or Porto. Very rarely it'll be Sporting. I've never seen one of the teams outside of those three win the Portuguese League. But fair play to Braga. They won it with 91 points. Well done to them, as they were crowned champions of Portugal. As for the Scottish Premier League, that was Celtic once again 9 points clear of Rangers and doing it undefeated this year, only slipping up once. And as for La Liga, that was won by Barcelona, 4 points clear of Real Madrid. Atletico and Valencia wrapped up the top 4. And as for the bottom 3, that was Osasuna, Granada and Girona. I'll do the Turkish League real briefly. That was won by Besiktas, 4 points clear of Fenerbahce. So that is basically that. The last thing we're going to do for today's very long, special in-depth look at the save is take a look at some final emails here where, due to the simulation, I missed out on some interesting things, including 2 players terminating their contracts, and I tried to offer them one. I tried to offer one of those guys a contract, but unfortunately, did I accept this bid? I didn't indeed. Unfortunately, we couldn't afford to release one of our senior players. I was going to release Jordan White, but I couldn't afford to do so. He's going to actually leave next season on a transfer, but I couldn't afford to release him, and therefore we lost 2 youth players in our youth team. Thankfully, it was Brankovic, who didn't have much potential anyway, but we did lose Joshua de Graaf, who had 87 to 93 potential. So a shame there. We lost one of our best players, but either way, I'm not that bothered, because the fact of the matter is our team is just stacked with youth players anyway, so I don't really mind too much. It's never nice to lose a youth player, but one of those things. And there you go. So the final thing we'll do to end today's episode off is take a look at the transfer shortlist for Season 4. And as you can see, it's very similar to the one we had during the season. I've taken a few names off, but not added many in. And that's because, to be honest, I don't know who we're going to look for in the summer. I really don't know. Because of the way that our budget has been so low throughout the course of the series so far, we once again might not get much money to work with in the summer window, and therefore I've not really changed this much. I'd like to bring Kyle Walker back to Brammall Lane. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do that in the summer though, as he's just joined Roma in the Serie A. Jack Stevens and Chris Metham are centre-back options, but I'm probably going to look for some better players in the summer for that role. And as you can see, Hamza Chowdhury is still there. I wouldn't mind Chowdhury next season, I must admit, to replace John Fleck or Oliver Norwood. I think they'd be great replacements. They've both got medium-high work rates, as does Hamza Chowdhury. So I think that'd be a great option there to replace Fleck. Same with Isaac Hayden as well, medium-high work rates. Either of these two here, preferably Hayden, I'd say, would be great options to replace Fleck or Norwood. Or Nathaniel Chalobah either. I wouldn't mind Chalobah, although I have had him in Karima before, and I'm not sure I've had either of these two before. Buendia is still there, although I will have to get a full scout report back on the Argentine once again. And David Brooks, would actually quite like to bring David Brooks back to Brammall Lane. He's now 81 rated and only 24 years old. 4-star, 4-star. We don't play with wide midfielders, but as I mentioned before, with his stats, he will be a great option through the middle of the park as one of our more creative players in the midfield trio. So Brooks definitely a target for next season to bring back to Brammall Lane. Sissoko has just signed a pre-contract with someone. West Ham, interestingly enough, so we won't be getting him next year. But David Turnbull is currently out on loan. Wouldn't mind getting him next year as a replacement for John Fleck. Scott for Scott, but much younger than John Fleck. And Josh Brownhill, definitely worth considering with Bristol City, always featuring in their team. Great player, and he's got 97 stamina. 98, it's gone up by a rating. 98 stamina. Josh Brownhill's got some great technical stats as well. This guy never gets tired, man. His missus loves him, honestly. He's definitely a target for the summer. Dwight McNeil, 81 rated. Wouldn't mind this guy for next season, I must admit. Looks very, very good indeed as he continues to grow and get better year after year. Quinner was part of the Watford side. I got relegated this year, so definitely worth considering. Wouldn't cost us much to pick him up on a cut price deal from Vicarage Road, so definitely a target for the summer transfer window. Only 22 years old, but 76 rated. Now, many of you guys have been suggesting James Maddison for me. Unfortunately, he's a bit out of our price range at the moment. Part of our squad in the World Cup. He's now at Borussia Dortmund in the game. 86 rated, 25 years old. Absolutely no chance are we getting James Maddison next year. But Gerard Deulofeu, part of the Watford side that got relegated. Hopefully, the Hornets wouldn't hold us to ransom. I'd love to pick him up on a relatively cheap deal. He would be a brilliant option to come off the bench as an impact sub, get bums off seats. I'd love Deulofeu as part of our side. Wesley's now joined Inter Milan in the game. I highly doubt we could afford him over the summer, so I'll probably get him off the shortlist. Mitrovic we could still possibly sign from Fulham, as they're coming back to the Premier League for next year, possibly worth considering. And also Alfredo Morelos, now playing for Porto, formerly of Rangers. Wouldn't mind getting him from Porto. He's on a very cheap wage out there, and him off the bench for Calvert-Lewin and Tony would be a great impact sub with his pace and strength. Definitely worth considering. And so that will do it for today's very long, special, in-depth look at the save, guys. Really hope you have enjoyed this video, and hopefully you guys are excited for the World Cup as well. Now, here is what I plan to do for the World Cup, for those that have never watched one of my career modes before where I manage an international side. Basically, the World Cup is going to be taking part when the new season starts, so long as we make it through the group. Our 3 games against Ireland, Mexico and Egypt, starting with Mexico, then Egypt, then Ireland, are all going to be at the end of this season, but the knockout stages, if we qualify for it, which we should do, will be played in the month of July. Now, what that means is that whilst we'll be beginning a new season with Sheffield United, we'll be managing England as well. However, in my career mode, what I do is I save the footage from the club stuff and leave it for a future episode and just show the international stuff. So in the next episode, you'll see the World Cup group stage where we face Mexico, Egypt and Ireland, and if we make it through, which we should do so, in the episode after that, we'll have the knockout stages, however far we go, and once we get knocked out, that'll be the end of the episode, that'll be the end of the World Cup. The episode after that, we'll come back with the club stuff and begin the new season officially with Sheffield United. So if you don't want to watch the World Cup with England, that's totally fine. There'll be a different thumbnail for the World Cup episode, so you won't miss it, don't worry about it. And the Sheffield United episodes will resume with the Sheffield United thumbnail, most likely either on Monday or Tuesday. So yeah, the World Cup will be separate to the Sheffield United stuff, so don't worry if you don't watch the World Cup stuff, you won't miss the new season. We'll return with that back as normal in a full Sheffield United episode. So that's the plan. Hopefully you guys are excited for it. The World Cup is going to start in the very next episode of our group stage games against Mexico, Egypt and Ireland, as hopefully we'll progress to the knockout stages and have a successful World Cup campaign with England, where I'm targeting at least the semi-finals. The board say, the FA say the quarter-finals, we want the semi-finals, that's our aim, and I guess we'll see. So thank you for watching a special in-depth look at the save, guys. Really hope you have enjoyed today's episode. If you have, then please drop a like. Much love to you all, have a fantastic evening, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon, where we'll be returning with the start of World Cup 2022.